truck essentially warm up in the driveway for 15 minutes, wasn't plugged in, and we are at 6 degrees outside. So at 6 degrees, this is what we have. We have 130 degrees on our coolant, and we have essentially gotten to the point where I'm about ready to take off and drive. So just sitting in the driveway, we got our coolant to 160 degrees, which isn't bad. We're at 6 degrees outside. I didn't plug it in. All I did was remote started the truck from inside of the house. And that's the controversy, is like, do you start your engine, your diesel, let it warm up, or do you get in it and drive? Well, there's a lot of things to really consider with that. It's not even just the engine, it's your trans. Right now our transmission is at 66 degrees, just less than a mile or so of driving, so 66 degrees. And sometimes when it's real cold, you can feel that the shifts are a little bit sluggish until the transmission gets at least to like 70 degrees or so, 60, 70 degrees. Right now I haven't had any weird shifting at all. But I did let the truck warm up a bit in the driveway. The coolant and the transmission, the coolant in the engine is somewhat able to warm up the transmission a little bit while it's just sitting, because the transmission lines, they run through the radiator. So when your coolant gets a little warm or a little heat on it, it will go ahead and warm up the coolant for you, or the transmission for you. So that's a nice touch. So I'm actually going to be checking up on this property. There's a little bit of ice here that I'm going to address, but it's so cold that I need to use like a different type of a chemical in order to be able to do anything about this ice. So let me go ahead and put some product on that little bit of ice and go from there. 1 second. So I just put some calcium chloride on this one spot, and just 30 seconds to sit in there, maybe a minute, and the truck is already high idling. So there does seem to be some spots. Now I touch the brake and the RPMs kick right down. So there does seem to be some icy spots that I gotta go out here and hit. But what's interesting is these trucks in their high idle. A lot of people are curious as to why the truck needs to high idle. What's going on? Well, what's happening is, for some reason, the truck has determined that it would be better for it to be in a high idle state. And it does it in the summer as well, probably a little more often in the cool weather. Certainly very prevalent in this frigid cold weather. But sometimes when it's just 32, you might be thinking, the guys who are really into the diesel trucks and everything, they may be wondering why it's not doing high idle a little more when it's really cold. Well, in my case, when it's real cold like this, does it more often than when it's just 32, 33. It seems like if it's just those temperatures, the truck can keep its heat up a little bit better than when it's 6 degrees. At 6 degrees, it's like every time I stop, this thing shoots up into high idle. So kind of interesting. Another property over there. So it's a lot of people wonder why their truck's doing it. It's probably best just to let the truck do it if it's gonna do it. I will probably be a driver or owner of a vehicle like this, a diesel, that is a little bit frowned upon, because it's like, why do you have a diesel if your trips aren't long enough and all that? And that's definitely a valid point. Right now we're going to be working within just a few miles. A gas engine would be better. I mean, Well, it's not that it would necessarily be better, but it would certainly be better for the actual engine itself. Like, this is not great for the engine. I think these are going to be better suited for like your highway hauling, longer distances, heavier weights. Although from time to time we do get some pretty heavy weights. Nothing that the 7.3 can't handle, but still. What's another thing though is, like, in these really cold temps, this engine, I feel, maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like it keeps its heat better than the 7.3, and that's interesting because usually a gasoline engine it keeps its heat, like you lose HVAC, you lose heat in your HVAC with the 7.3 and these temps. It's just such a big engine. I don't know what the deal is, but I don't find that the 6.7 has a hard time staying warm if it's driving, although it will need a little high idle action, especially in these temps whenever it stops. But in this weather, in this case, I have not plugged in the truck. For me, plugging in the truck creates a little bit more of a work for me to do, like getting out there, remembering to plug it, remembering to unplug it. It's nice to have a nice warm truck that doesn't really need to sit there and warm up, but at the end of the day, it's easier to sit in the house and press the button. Now, would it be overall better to warm up or plug in the vehicle? 100%, but I just haven't kept them long enough to really worry about the implications of just remote starting the vehicle. I mean, you're talking about the end of its life being extended maybe another couple years maybe, but at the end of a 10 to 15 year life cycle on one of these trucks, is it really going to be something that I worry about? It's not going to mean that the engine's not going to run at the end of its life. Maybe it'll consume a little more oil or something like that, but at the end of the day, it's still going to work. But probably would keep the engine tighter a little bit longer by plugging it in. In my case, though, what I do is I run the 0W40 AMSOIL, and it's happy in these cold temps. Like, there's no noises or anything. It's just pretty good to go, even though it's only 6 degrees. Now, tomorrow's going to be colder. Maybe I'll start it up and drive it again just to see what's up, see how it does. But I'm I've been pretty happy with the cold weather performance on the new 6.7 high output. It's honestly, I feel this engine runs a bit hotter than the standard output that was out previously. But comment below, let me know your thoughts. Thank you for tuning in. This is DS Trucks with a little cold start in the morning, 6 degree weather, 6.7 power stroke. Anyway, thank you for watching. See you next time. Over and out.